will return back to the platform in the replies. Um, I will start with the last thing that I remembered. When I say that I am an executive person, not a legislator, I'm talking about the law of 196 for the year 2008. I used to work at the Authority of Real Estate Taxes, and I'm not one of those who suggested the law. And you know that the law may enter the People's Assembly, and some other things may be added to it, and some things may be conflicted and have another law. The amendments that took place, and I will comment on these amendments because the things that were said about the factories, the amendments that were submitted had a kind of comfort for the factories. This will be proposed at the People's Assembly. The House of the Representatives. The points here is the problem of the real estate. Like Dr. Ashraf said, he said that the problem is as an entity. How can I evaluate? We have 27 million units in Egypt that have been surveyed in our registries today. In order to evaluate this is very important. So in the amendments, things will be clearer. And a committee will do that, and so the employee will not evaluate this, although like Mr. Ashraf said, the cadastre is important. I have been burdened with some burdens more than the employee of the authority, the real estate authority. That's the point I want to clarify. I am pleased with this. I'm fine with this. But when talking that I am an executive, I'm talking about my position now and a previous law that has been proposed at the People's Assembly and have many amendments, one of which are for the interests of the citizens and others that have been added. It's not the time to talk about it now. If you look to the history of the amendments, you will find the different dates of the amendments since 2009 until 2014. So there are some things in the law, like I talked about the schools and universities. And some people, owners of universities, they are saying I am not subject to profit. I am not making profit. So if you're not making profit, I can apply for my son at your university without paying money. He told me no, of course. So I'm saying and I'm repeating that I am executive person because everything included in the law. I was not participating in it. I was not an authority head, and there are some good points and other points not good for the citizens, and so we're talking about amendments. And have talked about the amendments. There are also, as to the factories, Dr. Hisham is talking about the factories that we may close down, and we are making trials. They were subject to taxes in the law 65 for the year 1954, but today if you are saying I have a space, I have places non-utilized at the time of a protocol with the Minister of Tourism and the Tourism Chamber. It's not about minister with the minister, but both entities, the tax authority, they say these are our evaluations and the standards are being developed by the entities that are subject to the taxes, and so they say how are the different spaces being calculated as subject to the taxes, and each minister will get from the people under his authority, they submit to him the different works they do. So the law is not to subjecting the factories to taxes in 2008 only, no. And at the same time we have the amendments. Dr. Ashraf talked about this. They have advantages, and at the same time it will be submitted to the Council of Representatives, and will take into consideration the different opinions of the specialized people and the people working in the real estate taxes. There will be a type of dialogues, and of course we are working for the public interest. Dr. Manel was talking that every day will take from the citizens 40% of the income. The real estate taxes, I'm talking about the part I'm competent in. Not every day make a law for real estate taxes. It has been since 1954 until 2008, and it should be changed because each law has another 30 laws. So the apartment where you are living, you may have very competent laws for this. So maybe you have a committee, you have, and the other person did not have a committee, and it has been established at a certain time in this building. And so the distortions that took place in the old laws should be amended. Since 2008 until now, there is no new law, not every day. The laws that have been issued at that time had some amendments, and now other amendments are being made. It is worth mentioning that while Mr. Ashraf was talking, the time period is 2 years. Of course, I agree with you. It's 100% true. The 2 years we have expanded it because you see there's a very big urban expansion. In 2013 there was a very big development. Even in the surveying, the 10 millions who have offered their tax returns, we found only 1 million, and the others were something not accurate data, and there was a very big development during this period. So we didn't want to increase this 30%, because if someone has a unit with a complete unit in 2018 and 2019, if he had another increase, we don't want that the citizen think that there will be an increase. So in fact it's not increase, but it's a limit for the tax authority, not more than 30 or 45, but you cannot increase. So we don't want this to be the image of the taxpayers. And so we said we will try to expand during these 2 years to finish what happened. The old law gives the 7 years. We said it will be good to be stable for 7 years, but I prefer it will be for 10 years. But we said 7 years is fine. And the increases, even the ceiling of the increases in the amendments, we didn't want to cancel this ceiling, although the evaluation process will be better and there will be pricing committees, and we can know your unit is what's its price in this area. Because the people and the social community will know about this. And although the pricing will maybe less than the systems followed now, but we didn't cancel exemption. All the exemptions in the law, we didn't cancel it at all. All these exemptions are still available. If there is anything I didn't cover. As to the syndicates in Article 18, we have a number of exemptions, including the syndicates. All the syndicates are exempted, and the clubs. There was a law issued by the Ministry of Youth and Sports to exempt all the clubs, with a condition of utilization during a period for the private clubs, and all the youth centers affiliated to the Ministry of Youth are exempted. Sorry, I can't hear him. He's not using the mic. And all the units under finishing are all exempted. And one of the attendees was talking about the closed unit. My standard is a full finished utility or an occupied utility. But if it's not fully furnished and finished, But if someone has 2 units, the exemption is for we only for 1 unit, but not more than 2 millions. If someone has two of them, he will pay for one only, and the other one will be exempted. Dr. Abla was talking also about the coastal areas and all the people who have villas until 2014 2015. We have surveyed all the villas and chalet, but when the law was issued, we are not allowed to ask from the citizens to give us information. We were not allowed to get information from the people, and we were trying to surveying the places from the maps as a value of rent and the number of buildings. And so all the coastal areas like Sokhna and Marsa Matruh and North Coast, Sinai, South Sinai, and also the villages at these areas did not allow us to take the information. And now it has this is the segment that is paying the taxes. We are trying to facilitate for the citizens. So these areas, in the coastal areas, they come to pay at the public treasury beside the real estate tax authority. Only yesterday we only collected 2 million pounds, and I think these numbers will be doubled. This is only one segment, and they are the most committed, the people who are owners of villas in the coastal areas, and we have their data before requiring them, and they came to pay. This is the biggest segment, and the percentage of these residents, it's 2/3 comes from these places, and all of them are paying. I will reply to this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. As to the non-fully finished units, when it was suggested by the Minister of Finance to subject the non-occupied fully finished units, he was opposed. So he was very smart professionally, and he entered to tackle the executive regulations and talked about the being fully finished, which the standard of this is to have water and electricity. If the apartment has water and electricity, it will be ready for residents, even if there no one residing that. And in the view of the executive regulations, this does not apply to the apartment which does not have electricity or water. I wanted to see the opportunity that we have a number of those who are interested, and I wanted to say that I agree to this law since that day. And I have talked about this in 2010 in the Economic Al-Ahram, but the amendments that took place and the law in 2008, in my opinion, has some viewpoints that need to be tackled, including that the law stipulates that this rental value is re-evaluated each 5 years, and they put a ceiling for the increase, which is a reference that there will be inflation and increase of prices and so on, and increase in the rental value. But the ceiling of the increase are with a percentage of 30% from the previous rental value, and 45% of the residence value. So if we are talking about the factories, since 21 to 22, the ceiling will be 45%. I'm asking about the difference between the 30% for the residents and 45% for the non-residents. I think this is a very important point. The second point is that when the law does not want to address all the owners of the real estate, he found that there is a problem in the notification. To notify, the collection price will be very high. It may be more than what have been collected already. So it said that it should be notified only with the things to be subject to taxes. This issue will be a problem in the reassessment. because maybe today I am exempted, and after 5 years, if I'm not notified, and then after 5 years, it will be reassessed. Maybe the one who is exempted today will be a subject after 5 years. The third thing that has to do with the notification for all the establishments of special nature, like the airports and industries, anything that took place before the issuing of the protocol between the competent ministries. Some of them have gotten notification, especially the big hotels in 2013. The agreement of the industries, real establishments, it has a law, and so there is a difference. All the notifications during this period until the publication in the official gazette, it is subject to being null and void. With the businessmen and the authority, it needs reconsideration. The important issue is notification. As the one who is a person to know the value of the rent, there is nothing that the person responsible for the taxes says this for 1 million, this for 2 millions. This is being said, and maybe a tax officer says that, but the one who assesses this is a committee of three. The real estate authority is one of these individuals, one from the housing and one from the governorate and one from the authority. Three people assess this, then the notification is made to the office and the person responsible, not someone who will come and say 2 millions and 3 millions. This is said in the community. Maybe one corrupt person says that, but this is not according to the law. There's a problem in the notification. When I send to all the people with the letter, so maybe this will be a problem. So there was an amendment in the law that notification happens by any way, through the collector, for example, and submits to you the form and you sign on submission. And this we have this problem in the compounds, who have the authority to get these letters. If someone is not found at the north coast, for example, during the winter, and then he was shocked to know that he didn't challenge the different notification that he got, and it's not correct legally. Because I should get this and sign on it, not even the security. There's a problem in the real estate tax on the establishments and projects at the free zones. I used to talk about this. The free zones, there is no the tax of real estate tax. These taxes are not applied here. So there was a problem when the law was established in 2008. It included a stipulation that will cancel all the other exemptions because it will apply it on the parts in the law only. Even the one in that of the engineers, they have all been exempted, but the law included it to have the different parts in the law. As to those established and owned by, as per the free zones system, the authority did not know what to do, and so it complained to the Ministry of Finance, and he talked with the State Council. They said that the period from the date of knowing the law and so even the investment law 2016 or the old law 2008, please give me in writing these things. I will leave this study for you because I will send, because we need to finish. Last point out of this subject, but I have to say it. All of us, and we were in the committee of 50, we had a hope that there will be the general medical insurance system, and thank God it started to be applied slowly in Port Said and Suez and Sinai region, but there is a problem in Law 2 for the year 2018, which was issued by the Parliament to guarantee the resources of its application. It included that there is a part of a contribution that should be okay, partnership, and it should be borne by the owner. It takes the amounts of the revenues, and so it didn't deal with the different assessments and the professional cases, and so it is included of the costs. This issue, and I'm trying to defend these laws. If I have a customer in my office, I will be at the constitutional court. So maybe this will be a very problem for a system that Egypt has been waiting for a long time ago, especially the poor who don't have any system for medical protection. Please allow me as a citizen that I'm urging you, and I have said this in the media, and that Sisi president is a part of this, of course, and we need to rectify or correct anything that maybe have a problem. And if I am wrong in anything, please correct me, and I will send to you this thing, because even in President Sisi is behind this. Of course, he wants to know the real information. Sorry for being lengthy.
I had a question that I asked for the exemption to factories but not to private residents. During the time of the law, I was in the industry committee, and that was my main concern. So if I have to put at that time certain exemptions, and that was, related to philosophy of the law. So if one industry is exempted, then we have to exempt all. I cannot put differences between small factories and big factories. So again, like you said, for example, the inspectors come and inspect me. Why don't they go to inspect Bessus or other areas? This is only a question to pose. So my concern is industry. And simple, put it that way, we have a certain knowledge. If the information is wrong, the decision is wrong. So I have a question. How can I take a decision in the real estate wealth when we don't have the information and the knowledge, which is the registrate, about the whole thing? So if we're speaking about the fifth floor without having investigated the ground floor, we'll do that forever. We are never gonna reach anything. What about apartments under preparation or under finishing? Half of Egypt is under finished. Sometimes they are not painted even. If I were in your shoes, whoever is finishing the apartment should be exempted, not the other way around. Because I can have a palace and not finish it and then not pay. So this is a paradox again. And now, Mr. Mahmoud, you said that notification will go to whoever and whoever. But I'm thinking about technology while you were speaking. Even people who are, responsible for cleanliness of the streets, they have a mobile. Why it could be through a text message on the mobile? Why are we living in the past? So the main treatment is to apply technology, and that I have a database and a register, because the origin of laws is to facilitate, but then we are trying to put knots in the law and try to solve it. It's backfiring. So this is not a solution. This is a problem. Dr. Hisham said that there are factories, and what else he mentioned. The point is the mindset. I wouldn't care if the factories were subjected to taxes since the pharaohs, but right now I have some obligations that people would work in these factories for employment. Do I come at that time and get put obligations on them? But the point is, if I have certain collections out of the tax collection, but this is not compared to the exemption benefits. So the point is that a taxation authority is looking, they are one track minded. They are one track minded only to collect the taxes, but that doesn't necessarily lead to the success of the state in sustainability and development. As to the societal dialogue, you mentioned ministries, but Mr. Mohammed meant that there should be other parties. Where are the associations? Where are the syndicates? Where are the other stakeholders? So this would not work that way, doctor. If there are certain details which are put in the law, and if we have a register and if we have a database, then we are not gonna face all these the challenges. This is a catastrophe that we don't have this methodology. We are facing very hard conditions. I should go on the right track. Knowledge, information, database, and registry. I wouldn't be able. So the philosophy itself should be reviewed on the level of the state. I hope that the parliament would adopt maybe this or even part of it. But everyone should play one's role. Thanks a lot for your attendance and for your interaction. And sorry for going lengthy. I hope that we have added value to your information and suggestions. Thank you.